Hi, everybody. It is a lovely Friday afternoon, and welcome to the Root Talk Show that is brought to you by the Youth Platform. So, as we continue on our road to the Regional Adolescent Health Indaba, we would love to let our viewers know all across Africa and beyond that today's episode is brought to you with the compliment of Amref Health Africa Zambia, the TYP's official partner of the RAHi 2025. And just as I'm letting you know about that, I'm glad that we are having a guest who's actually coming from Amref, who's joining us on today's show. And another guest that we have is Mr. Ntoka, who's the head of program at the Youth Platform. I know I didn't say the name of the person who's coming from Amref because I'm so excited to have her introduce herself right now on the show. Hi, everybody.
Hello, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, and I'm excited to be here.
Okay, so just right about now, Enoch is going to forgive me for a bit because right now I want to talk to our official partner of the RAHi. So you can just introduce yourself to the people out there, our viewers, so they can know you and we can dive into the conversation.
Thank you very much. So, as you have mentioned, my name is Alice Maimba Mapulanga, and I'm from Amref Health Africa here in Zambia, and I'm the communications officer for Amref. And we are actually quite excited to be a partner for this year's RAHi, and we can't wait to see it bring all the youth from the different countries in the region, and just to hear what they have to say and their ideas and suggestions around universal health coverage as well as sexual reproductive health.
Okay, I think we're out there because we're excited to see what you guys have to offer. So, what work do you do at Amref Health Africa Zambia?
So, Amref Health Africa in Zambia is a locally registered national non-governmental organization, and we are part of the larger international and locally African-owned organization, which is Amref Health Africa, and we are headquartered in Nairobi, Kenya. So, in terms of what we do, we are guided by our vision of providing lasting health change in Africa. And we do this by supporting and catalyzing community-led initiatives and also addressing social determinants of health. And we do this through various platforms and through various projects. And important to that is the incorporation of youths, because we believe that all of our problems, particularly in public health, as a
Yeah.
country and as a continent, can and should be solved by ourselves and spearheaded by the youth.
Exactly. That's very nice. I always like it when the youth are spearheading certain things because I feel most of the challenges that we face, I think it's easier for you to actually find solutions if you are the ones spearheading them as the people who are facing them. So I have noticed, or actually, it is known that over the past years, Amref Africa has been working closely with TYP. How has your partnership been over the years?
So our partnership has been in terms of how we engage and support the youths with skills development and supporting them in some of the initiatives that they're championing, whether it's advocacy on different issues such as sexual reproductive health and even tobacco control, which is another project that we are doing as AMREF under our Y Act, which is another youth
Nice.
initiative, because we believe that we need to start having youths in these decision making rooms and in the decision making processes, not so much as a tokenistic seat, but as a part of the decision makers and influencing policy that obviously affects how they are affected by those policies. So we have seen this partnership grow from merely a relationship of two organizations that are championing a similar cause to a more strategic one. And it is through this strategic arm that we are actually coming in to support and work particularly on the RAHi 2025.
Okay, nice. So when we are looking at your partnership with TYP, what are some of the strengths that you bring as Amref onto the table when it comes to your partnership with TYP?
Yes, so as Amref, we are looking to not only be a partner that supports what TYP is doing, but we also want to complement the work that they're doing. So one of the ways that we're looking to do that is through technical capacity. We bring to the table a lot of experience in clinical and public health expertise, and we want to ensure that those youth-led solutions are safe, they're evidence-based, and obviously they are scalable to a way that they are able to be replicated not only in Lusaka, not only in nearby communities, but all over the country. And we want to also see them scale all over the region so that they're able to positively influence other youths. And we also want to support in terms of systems level access. So we as AMREF have a long-standing relationship with government institutions and particularly the Ministry of Health. And our work with the ministry and with the use of community health workers is something that we want to then use to create pathways for TYP and for the youth that are coming through RAHi for their pilot ideas to be able to bring in actors and to reach that formal primary healthcare setting where they are then being able to be scaled up. And another part is we want to also talk about capacity strengthening in whatever form that we are able to support this with our expertise. And this is through monitoring and evaluation and learning, because we want to see how the projects that we are supporting through TYP, how are they performing, what's their impact, and what can we learn from them so that we can improve on those. And we also want to support in advocacy strategy as well. So we are looking at it from a well-rounded and holistic approach in terms of how we support this partnership.
Yeah, Alice, are you able to get me?
Yes, I am. We seem to have lost Malungo, but I'm
Oh
okay.
yeah, Malungo has actually exited. We hope that she'll be able to get inside. Yeah, so I think you bring out very important insights in terms of the value and that Amref brings to this year's regional Indaba. But also you bring out very important aspect on how your institution, not only in Zambia, but within the spheres where you operate, actually brings out the aspect of that speaks to universal health coverage, in terms of your partnership and your programs. Yeah, very important. Yeah, so I think I want to also say that in terms of how this yes RAHi is coming up, it's an opportunity for us to add another dimension that we have not had in the previous, regional endeavors. If you checked our page and if you dug a little bit in the history, you would notice that the the first, second, and third and fourth editions of the regional Indaba that we have had a focus on just how we can try to address some of the barriers and impediments to access to health services by adolescents. So that pretty much speaks to ensuring that there's universal coverage. So you notice that we have been discussing the issues of human resource, issues of policy, issues of infrastructure, just the issues around also knowledge gaps within the adolescents themselves to be able to know where the services may be. So, but this year's RAHi comes with it that aspect that he zeroes in somehow on the human resource. So we have been talking about a healthcare provider, okay, and we have noticed that there's that gap that and that is created as a result of the vulnerability, especially for those that may not be in employment, but they still have the skill that can add value to the subject of health access. So, how can we concentrate on that particular issue? But also for those that are in service, how can they increase income, for instance, so that they can remain motivated, they are not vulnerable to a point where they are unable to do their job. I think that health entrepreneurship aspect that Amref comes with is going to add value to. So for me, I'm very excited because of that particular piece. And yeah, Malungo, welcome back. Yeah,
Thank
I
you
was
so
just
much. Still,
on
Amref,
what
please
Alice
keep
was
me in
saying.
the
Yeah,
conversation. Please keep me in the conversation. I feel like right now you guys have left me so far. Sorry, I just jumped up there. I had a bit of technical issues, but I'm back now. So what exactly were we on? Because I also want to know. I also want to know.
So basically, Enoch was just telling me how excited he is to have Amref, and hearing how excited you are makes me excited for RAHi 2025. And we were
Yeah.
basically just talking about how can we go beyond thinking about access as an end receiver, but how can youths also think about access as them being the players or the entrepreneurs who are creating some of those access points? How can there be like better job creation in the space that is still pushing towards universal health coverage? And how can we scale some of those ideas? And even the ones who are in direct health service delivery, how can they upskill so that they're able to take up more income generating or perhaps push themselves to higher positions through some of the trainings that we support? And in speaking to what you were talking about, we are actually coming on board to support you through one of our projects, which is the Africa Health Collaborative. And one of the main focuses of our project is that we want to see a resilient and responsive health workforce. Because
Yeah.
only when we are resilient and responsive are we able to then attain that universal health coverage. And our goal is to achieve that by going through our three pillars that
Yeah.
we are focusing on, which is health employment, health entrepreneurship, and health ecosystem. Ecosystem in that we want to see an environment that is conducive for the youths to be playmakers and to be players in terms of starting their own businesses, getting more skills so that they're able to take on a few other positions and they're able to perhaps deviate and get more income generating jobs and consultancies as directly in that health space.
Yeah. How do you guys have that nice conversation when I'm not even there? I feel left out right now because that was
So
a
you
very good conversation.
hearing us. That was us going a bit off track, but that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's amazing. That's amazing. I'm glad that you guys had that conversation because it's a very good one. It's a very good one. Running back to Enoch, the RAHi is coming closer and closer. You know, it seems like it's too far, but trust me, it's approaching very fast right now. So can you just tell us, can you just give us an update on the overall preparations? And by preparations, I think I would also want to know how many people from outside the country have confirmed to coming for the RAHi. Just give us a bit on that.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm very excited, like I mentioned, about this Ezra High. It actually feels like it's tomorrow, because time is fast approaching. So, in terms of preparations, I know that it's difficult to really call it complete. In every event of this nature, you expect that you always have that thing that is running late and no one gets it 100%. But I can safely say that we are on top of things. And as of the last update that we had, I think it looks like
Yeah,
we are at 85% in terms of, operations. So
yeah,
85% in just means that we have got all functional uh, committees that are looking at various aspects, participants, engagement of key stakeholders, the guest of honors, speakers, and all the partners, just preparing them in terms of what is going to have procurement of materials, venue, and all that kind of preparation. So we are on course, and I hope that as we get nearer to the RAHi, we should be able to have everything under control, and we just remain with the activities and the tasks that are assigned to the actual RAHi. So it's exciting, and in a few, I'm going to also discuss how unique this particular RAHi is from the previous one. And that's where my excitement really is. So yeah, we are on course, and with your
Okay.
help and the help of the other partners, I think we'll be on top of things. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And how many young people are we expecting? Like generally, young people in Zambia, young people from outside the country. How many are we expecting in total?
Yeah, in total, we are expecting 600 participants, delegates, and of this number, we expect 500 young people and 100 other stakeholders. So, for instance,
Okay.
from outside of Zambia, we expect not less than 400 delegates. So, of this number, so far we have about 200 that have confirmed. So the confirmation of the 200 includes those that have confirmed the lists, those that have, some of them that have even procured the tickets and so forth. So we'll have participants from as far as Senegal. We have participants from Kenya. For the first time, we are going to have a very high delegation from Kenya and cases of Amref. So this will comprise of the staff of Amref, but also some that are coming from Department of Health within Amref University in Kenya. So that's what makes me excited. So we have confirmations from that end, but also we have some confirmation from countries like Botswana, Namibia, Zimbabwe, uh, also Malawi. So we are still putting pieces together, and we are hoping that in the next week we should be able to have this 400 that we expect from that end to close up in terms of the numbers. So basically, that's what we are looking at this is.
I'm pretty sure we're going to have that whole number that we're looking at closing up, because the way applications are just coming, the way people are just calling, finding out how can I apply for the RAHi, how can I do this. I know those applications are actually coming through. And right now, as our viewers are watching, I if I remember correctly, you mentioned that we are having a huge number coming from Kenya. So I'm giving the people from Kenya a challenge right now. I hope they still remember how the Zimbabweans were so much active at last year's RAHi. This time around, I'm giving the Kenyans that challenge because I want to see them be that active in this year's RAHi. And still on Enoch, how is this year's RAHi so unique? How is it going to be different from these other RAHi? I know you said in a few you're going to give me an answer to that, so it was just in the back of my mind, and now I want to hear it. How is it going to be um, nicer,
Yeah, yeah.
bigger,
So,
better than the
yeah, thank you
previous
so
one?
much, Malungo. I know that that's one of the conversations that you missed out at some point uh,
Oh, one of the
when
nice
we lost
conversations we're
you.
having.
You missed out on that conversation. So, yeah, so the past RAHIs, our focus has been mainly on addressing the knowledge gaps for young people in terms of how we can enhance access to health services, including addressing the bottlenecks that linked to access to services, addressing policy barriers, and also creating overall awareness and designing strategy on how we navigate the different bottlenecks. So, the RAHI is a platform for adolescents and young people to float the ideas and speak to policymakers,
Yeah.
programmers, and also service providers. So this year's RAHI is unique in the sense that it also centers on the healthcare provider. And Alice, I think, has touched a bit on that in terms of how we address the vulnerability of this particular healthcare provider. And among others, cadre of government workers in this sphere, the healthcare provider, if they are vulnerable to a point where they have got economic challenges, and all that vulnerability that places a burden on their social life. It means that even access to services will be impeded because they will not put in their all in terms of their course of duty. So this particular component of this RAHi that is going to look at health entrepreneurship, that addresses how this healthcare worker can be in a enterprise, how can they can expand their income and all that kind of thing. It's just one of the unique component of this particular RAHi, because that in itself speaks directly into universal health coverage, if you ask me, because the healthcare provider is also a critical mass or a critical individual in all this ecosystem in terms of access to health services. So for me, that's what excites me. And if we get this right, trust me, it has a potential to be integrated within the mainstream of government planning. It can become a discussion. Say, apart from employing the healthcare worker, apart from creating jobs in the mainstream, how else can we ensure that the healthcare worker is not vulnerable? They're enterprising. Are they graduate? Are they are working? They have got a mind beyond the salary. They have a mind to grow wealth. I think that will go a long way in ensuring that we have a happy and motivated workforce that will bring about quality of health, and also an interaction between the healthcare provider and a young person, or indeed any person seeking services, improved. So for me, that's very much unique. We can talk about universal health coverage, but if you're not also focusing on the person that's providing services, that becomes a challenging thing. So for me, apart from that traditional setup that we have in terms of providing this space to speak to policy, to speak to bottlenecks in access to services, this particular pillar is going to be a game changer in that particular space. So that's the uniqueness, and that's what makes me excited about this race.
This is going to be huge. This is going to be a big event. I am ready for it. I am starting to prepare for the RAHi 2025 right now. I'm starting to count down because it's really
Yes,
going to be an
yes,
amazing event. No, we're ready, and I'm sure the viewers out there who are
yeah.
watching right now are also ready for the RAHi 2025. Alice, let's talk about the theme of this year.
Mhm.
So the theme of this year's RAHi is positioning young people to catalyze youth employment and job creation through primary health care. I hope you people didn't speak about this when you're having your amazing conversation.
Oh,
Oh,
this
but
particular one we waited for you.
oh my god. Anyways, but looking at this
Yeah.
theme is actually a very powerful theme because it's really channeling to young people and just the young people out there. So from your perspective, what makes this theme so relevant right now as we speak, for our continent, for our countries? What is making this theme so relevant right now, and how does it speak to the realities and aspirations of young health advocates in the region?
Okay, so this year's theme for us hits two realities at the same time. So you have youths in the country who, at the moment, are the largest population that we have, and they are facing high levels of unemployment. And then you also have a public health system that needs strengthening and also needs support. So we want to bring in who understand the communities they live in, who understand the challenges they are facing, particularly in terms of accessing health services, and who understand their own needs as well as that of the adolescents, right? So the theme this year's theme signals the need for adolescent health advocates and public health and universal health coverage advocates to come together and think beyond simply service delivery. So we want them to think of themselves as not just service delivery accessing people, but then we also want to think of themselves as potential entrepreneurs, potential
Yeah.
data collectors, because again, data informs how best we make decisions that will serve us, as potential educators and community health workforce mentors. And it also provides with us an opportunity to reframe how we look at universal health coverage and adolescent health as not merely a tool and an engine that we use to give them services, but we also want to use it as a job creation tool. How do they enter the public health service space, and how do they solve solutions, but in a way that also provides job opportunities for themselves and their fellow adolescents? So for us, this theme comes at a point where we have an intersection of the two issues that we're looking at. We're looking at youth who are in need of employment, and this is both formal and informal, which is where our emphasis on entrepreneurship also comes in. But then we're also looking at how do they solve the pressing health issues that we have to support public health and to support universal health coverage.
Nice, nice. No, I'm so ready for Amref. Trust me, I'm so ready for Amref. This conversation we're having right now has made me so ready
Hi, so we are as
for
excited as you are.
and we're so excited. So just a last one while we're still on that. What kind of long-term impact that's beyond the RAHi? Let's act like we're forgetting about the RAHi. It has happened, and then what next? What long-term impact or long-term gains does your organization with this collaboration to what we hope to see coming out of the RAHi?
So, in terms of the long term vision that we have beyond RAHi, we want to be able to support any of the initiatives that come on board and see how they are scalable. One of the things that we want to support is how are they able to come up with ideas? How are they able to bring those ideas into implementation stage? How are they able to engage with potential donors? Because again, some of these ideas will need funding to scale. So we want to be able to provide opportunities for them to identify where those gaps are, what are the opportunities that lie in those gaps, and how are they able to come up with solutions that are scalable and are able to generate income such that they provide themselves with jobs and also with their colleagues. And beyond that, we also provide mentorship because again, we want them to be able to succeed and they cannot be able to do that on their own. So mentorship for us is very important. And this is at different levels, financial, mental, and also just overall work-life balance. That
Yeah.
mentorship is something that we're looking forward to providing even beyond that.
Wow, that's amazing. So the people out there who are viewing right now, this does this just does not end on the RAHi. After the RAHi, we still have long-term gains, long-term impacts that are going to continue. So be there. Trust me, be there. If you haven't applied yet, please do it as quick as possible before the weekend so that you can just be there because it's going to be so amazing. So now I'm going to just ask the last set of questions. I think this question will be for both, but obviously we want to start with TYP answering that for us, and then we'll move on to Amref. So, what are TYP and Amref's expectations of the Fifth Adolescent Health Indaba? And just as we are looking at the expectations, I want to know what the outcomes you're expecting, the commitments you are planning to have on this, just around that. What is your expectations of this Fifth Adolescent Health Indaba? We'll start with Mr. Ntoka.
I'll allow Alice to go first. I've seen that she may be losing network and also battery on her gadget. Alice?
You know, technology is failing me. We need someone to come up with an idea on how they can prolong, battery life on
Yeah,
some of our gadgets, especially with the load shedding that we're experiencing.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so that's a very good question. And some of our expectations, again, we just want to be able to see the ideas and the knowledge that is coming from the youths. As I had said, our collaborative is all about championing youths and their ideas. So we want to see those ideas go beyond RAHi 2025. And one of the things that we're also excited about is the fact that we want to see how all the previous discussions from the previous RAHIs have come to fruition and how far we've gone in terms of the gains that we have made, and then build off of those gains. So, yes, again, our idea is we want to be able to support the youth that come through their ideas and help them identify those opportunities. And our commitment basically lies in what we do as AMREF and as the collaborative, which is the Africa Health Collaborative, which is a project that we are doing in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation. It's about helping youths upskill, helping youths identify opportunities. And we do this by providing them platforms where they're able to learn from each other. They're able to access funding that will help them scale these ideas to imagine where they are able to address these challenges that we are facing. And again, provide them the mentorship that is needed. So, as an organization and as a collaborator, even beyond RAHi, we will be on hand to support in any way we can, and particularly, as I had mentioned, in the mentorship and in the provision of the networks that will provide them with the opportunity to source funding for their ideas. So that is our commitment as AMREF. And ultimately, we want to be able to provide lasting health change in Africa, and we recognize that we cannot do that alone, but through partnerships and collaborations. And that is why we sit here today with the youth platform, and we are partnering to support RAHi.
Nice. I'll repeat what I said before. It's gonna be a big event. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a big event. Just move that question right back to Enoch as well before we just close down our show.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the dynamics around this are high. So, for instance, one of the expectations, key expectations, because for the first time, this RAHI is going to have a cross pollination of policy and ideas from the lawmakers. So, we are talking about members of parliament from Eswatini, Lesotho, and Zambia that will form a panel. So, for us, we want to hear from this panel how the three countries and any other country that may join. I think we may have a professor on the panel from Kenya. So how are they able to navigate the policy challenges that relate to access to services, empowerment of this particular healthcare worker? For me, that panel should be able to give us an outcome that is actionable as we push for so many other impediments in terms of the police environment around access to services. One of the other expectations for me is we have a huge number of healthcare workers, both in services and in training in the RAHI. So want to see heightened interactions between the young people that are beneficiaries or participants of the services that they provide and the healthcare provider. So from the provider point of view, since they will be looking at it from the entrepreneurship point of view, how are they able to harness the ideas that are coming from the consumer of the services that they provide? But also from the participants and the beneficiaries of the service, how are they able to provide first-hand, feedback into the services that they are being provided with? I think this is a huge, opportunity that this presents, so that we can see those ideas. So the outcomes from this interaction from the two sides will be very important and very beneficial in shaping policy. But also the countries that are involved, being in that particular space, what will be their major takeaways to their countries that we are able to follow up beyond the RAHI in terms of the knowledge, experiences, and also the information that will be shared. So for me, that is some of the key expectations and outcomes that we we hope to see. So this particular RAHi is more action oriented because we've been able to learn from the fourth edition that we have had. So want to see how can we bring all that in one and begin to agree on key issues that we can address as a region and as countries that are participating.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So right now we have come to the end of our show. It's been a very good conversation. Amazing. I've enjoyed interacting with you. I've enjoyed the fact that we've told the viewers out there what they're expecting. We've showed them what they should be looking forward to when it comes to the Regional Adolescent Health Indaba of 2025. So it's been a very good conversation. And thank you so much, Alice, for creating time to just be here and interact with our viewers out there to let them know what Amref has in store for them. Thank you so much, Enoch, as well, for creating time just to tell the viewers out there what TYP has in store for them in terms of the RAHi. But as you know, we always come to the end of the program. And for now, all I can say is bye bye.
Thank you.
All right.